Right, time to build another component, another reusable component. But this time we are not going to just build a component and import it and use it. We are going to be reusing the UI of the component, and we will be passing different prop values to this component in order to use the component in two main pages. So the home page, as you can see, and this is a component, it's always the same UI, but we are passing different prop values every time we call this component. So different background image, a different main title, a different subtitle, a different URL, and a different text on the button. But the UI is always there. It's always the same color. We always get this icon. And in terms of UI, it's the same thing. And as you can see, we are using this component a lot of times. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why we use React and React components. We want to create something and reuse it as it is, or partially by giving the component props. And when we call the component on the different pages, we definitely pass different prop values to it. And we are going to using this component a lot on the home page, but not only. I showed you earlier on the explore page. On that route, we are going to be using the same component one more time, and of course on each time passing different values. And this is the rule. This is what I did on the project. Two things I want to mention. As you can see, this one is perfect, but these images, the height, it's not the same, so we see the div background color. So, and I left it like this without fixing the problem, and this is easily fixable, but I wanted to mention that. Notice that the first image, because this image has a higher resolution, has a bigger width and height, it covers and stretches the entire div. Okay, this image, but these ones don't, because they are simply, and this one also does. So my point is, when we are dealing with a component and images, background images, it is important for you to make sure that the images have the same size. Otherwise, you might get this problem. Okay, so I'm not going to be supplying you these exact images. Actually, I'm gonna be supplying you and showing you and using one image that I used in the original project. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, please just check this video's description and you will find a playlist with all the videos that add up to this moment. Stop the video, just check the playlist in case you need, and all of this will make more sense to you. Okay, if you know and if you've been following, you just need to keep following, okay, and coding along. Okay, so the image that I have prepared here in my images, which is inside public folder, images folder, is this one, chauffeur, and this is a free to use image, and I used this image on the other website, the original one that is live at this point in time, but it won't be anymore because sooner or later I will replace that one with this one. In that image, I just used this website. I searched the word chauffeur, the keyword chauffeur, and this is the image I just downloaded. So you can pick this image for you to build this component. Of course, on a real project, you will change the image. You will provide a different image URL. In this case, a background image URL or just background image. But we are not going to do that. So we are going to be using always the same image. And yes, the title, subtitle, link, and button text, I'm going to be using exactly what I have here. I cannot copy paste because on a previous video, I also showed you how to protect your website against copy paste. So I try to copy paste anything on this website and I actually can't. I showed you this on a previous video, so just check the playlist, check the timestamps, and you will learn how to do that as well. Okay, that out of the way, quite long explanation, but important. Let's then start working. Okay, this is our project. We are going to be building this component, which we created the usual boilerplate, and this is the component name, featured. Why is this? Because the component is featured in both pages, on page and explore page. So I call it this way. You can call it whatever you like. I'm going to start by copy pasting the imports that I know that I will be needing, and I do not need this one at the top, so I'm going to get rid of that. So the link in the image components coming from Next, you are familiar with these if you've been following any of my videos pretty much, because I use them a lot. And the call to action button component is the button that we actually have here, which means once again we are going to be reusing a component. Once again, this is one of the goals when using React for your front-end development. Okay, quite long explanations. Let's start by creating the component. I'm going to be passing all the props that the component will be accepting. So main title, I'm going to open this so you see. Main title, of course, is the big one. Okay, main title, comma, subtitle, subtitle, right below, of course, URL, in this case is the button URL, because you want to send the user to a different route depending on the component. This button takes the user to the fleet page, and we can check that by hovering the button, and if we check the bottom left corner, we see fleet there, which is a route that we have available. Then the button text, so this text, Mercedes-Benz fleet, that's for that situation, but we want a different one for each case. So button text, and obviously the background image that we in this tutorial will be using the same image, the one that I showed you, but of course if this was your real project you will pass a different image, but in this case that's enough, so you can use whatever image you want. I'm going to call this background image. Okay, background image, and of course I need to provide, if it's an image, I need to provide alt tag, especially because when you deal with images using Next image, you have some properties that are mandatory. Okay, and you know that already, so I'm not gonna explain you more than that. Image alt, I think this is good enough, so let me just make sure that I have the word wrap selected so you see it better. Okay, so it's easy for you to read the code, and we keep the screen divided, code on the left, website on the right. Okay, so let's go back to what we are doing, because I showed you what we are doing already. So let's start by, instead of the div, I many times use divs, but divs are quite generic. Technically, the tag that you should be using, HTML5 tag, is section. This is technically correct comparing to div, but using the div won't hurt, won't damage anything, so you can use whatever you like, but I'm gonna suggest you to use section. Okay, class name, so I'm going to be styling this as usual. I want my BG to be white, but I can use my custom white, doesn't matter, it's actually the same color. The width, I want it to be full, so width, I want it to be full. a margin bottom of 80 pixels, okay, and I want, let me think, on MD I want a padding bottom of 5, and I want on MD also a padding top of 100. Not like that, of course. 100 pixels. Of course, you can play with this and you can rearrange and readjust the way you want, but I wanted to give like this big negative space, white space. This is what I'm doing, okay? Of course, this is the same, but bottom, top, so it gives you like a way bigger gap, and that was my goal. So you can go with that or not, depends on what you prefer. So once inside the section, now it's time for us to create a div. And this div, I'm gonna try to make it a bit more easy for you to read the code. This div, of course, needs a bit of styling as usual, and as usual we'll be using flex, and I want max auto. Why is this? Because I want to constrain the max width to the width that we've been using. So max width of 1660 pixels. Okay, this is what I wanted to use. Of course, you can play with these numbers and do what you think looks best in your own project. Okay, that out of the way, I'm gonna need another div inside. So I'm nesting plenty of divs on this one. Not like that. Okay, there you go. And now, what do I need to do? Now I want to have one div here that will contain more divs. So this is a bit tricky. Actually, I'm referring to my final project because I do not want to mess up this one. So I have the section, I have this one, and this one I was going to mess up already. Actually, I'm going to put it like this. So let me just leave it like this for a moment. And what do I need? I need to style it, of course. Class name, and I now need to start organizing things, like using Flexbox to organize things. And why did I do this? Yeah, I shouldn't, so I made a mistake already. Sorry about that. So this is what I want, because this is where I will be aligning the content. So flex call, because I want, as you can see, this div is actually overlapping the other one on a certain place, certain area, but the content is in a column, so vertically. So this one is tricky actually. So let me try to type this out and explain you without messing this up and breaking things, because this one it's not that easy. But if you just go bit by bit and stay with me, I really believe that you will be able to master this. So flex row on MD, so initially starts as a column, on MD goes as a row. That's what I'm trying to do here. And this one needs to be relative. And this relates to the positioning of the other div. Okay? So I have these two divs, and then I'm gonna need another div inside. This one will have to be absolute, I believe, because yeah, relative, absolute, yeah, class name, absolute. So bottom 0, left 0, and what do I want? I want width full, height full, width full, height full, okay? And I want the height, this is going to be tricky, the height of 400 pixels. Of course, you will probably have to rearrange this according to, I already messed it up, hold on a second. So left with full, the height because yeah, I'm already lost. Now I didn't want this, of course. I'm already making a mistake, so I'm gonna start this all over, to be honest. Okay, let's continue. So this one will have a width full on MD, will have a width of 75%. So we are dealing with this one, the one that will have the background image, okay? On LG, we'll have a width of 80%, right? And then on XL, this one will have a width of 70%, a height of 400 pixels, right? And then on MD, I want a height of 500 pixels, so I'm increasing the vertical, the way it looks vertically, so the height. And then on LG, I want a height of, okay, I want a height of 600 pixels. 600 pixels. On LG, I want a height of 600 pixels, and I also want to give a background color, so a darkish background color, I believe. Not that dark. Okay, doesn't matter. So BG slate 400 relative. This is for positioning, okay? Yeah, and this is this one actually. Is this correct? Hold on a second. This is tricky. So word ramp, I'm not really sure. This was correct. Okay. Okay, this is correct. Now I'm gonna need another div with absolute positioning, and that one, as we can see here at the bottom, and I kept it like this so I could show you, and I already explained you why. Also, when it comes to the image sizing, this is the one that will be giving this darker background. So inside this div, we now need, of course, another div, plenty of div nesting on this one, no way around that. Okay, I'm gonna need to style it, of course, and this one needs to be absolute, and I'm thinking and looking at the screen, so hold on, and this one needs to be bottom 0, absolute positioning, okay, left, be aware of the typos, left 0, width full, height full, right? BG slate 900. Why do I want the width and the height full? Because I want to cover, the image will be on top of that, that's true, but if there's no image, we'll get the div with the full background color. That's what I'm trying to do here. And then Z index of 10, and I'm gonna give it a bit of opacity, can be 60, okay? And in fact, this is for the image overlay, the dark image overlay. So we don't need, I'm just gonna put it a bit like this. I think it's easier for you and for me to read the code. So this is the dark image overlay. I'm gonna just leave a comment for you here, because I find it easier for you. So dark image overlay, okay? This bit right here, okay, dark image overlay. So nothing else goes inside this div. And then we are going to create the div that will actually contain the image. Okay, div. Okay, and let's style it, of course, so we don't forget it. So div and class name. I need to also style this one, absolute positioning. Also width full, height full, and overflow hidden. We do not want the image, in case it's bigger, to jump outside of the div. Okay, overflow hidden. Overflow hidden. Okay, now it's time for us to use the image component that we have imported at the top earlier, and I'm going to say image. Okay, and the image component, as I said to you, takes 4 mandatory things, which is the source. Okay, we know this, and of course this image, because now it's time for us to actually start passing the props. So this image source is going to be the background image. Okay, the alt is going to be the background image alt, of course. So I need curly brackets there instead of quotes. Okay, and this allows us, when we call this component on any page, we just use this property name and pass a different path to the image, a different alt, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna just put it like this. I find it more readable, especially for you, but also for me. The width, I went with 1400, and the height, I did the same. Of course, you can play with this and see what fits best in your case. So let's see what we have so far. Let's refresh. We don't have anything because we are not calling the component, silly me, of course. So I want to call this component inside the home page. So I need to go inside the home page. So I'm going to go to home page. In this case, it's the page.jsx home, exactly. And I need to import. So import. The component's name is feature it. Now I have access to this. I'm just gonna, for the moment, I'm just gonna replace this like this, and I'm just gonna put it, feature it like so. And of course now we need to pass the properties, so background image and URL. So this is what we want for the image, right? And we can see that when we hover. So we have all these options available for the component. And in this case, I'm just gonna put it like this, trying to make it readable for you. And now we can pass different values to this. Okay, so I need to check something first. I think, yeah, I should go with a div. Yeah, so yeah, I think, okay, I should go with the div to arrange this better. So I need to go with the div like this, and then I call the component here, and this is what I'm trying to do. And I should also, for styling reasons, I'm gonna wrap this inside another div, because you might want this for styling. This is not really mandatory, but I'm trying to give this to you in a way that you can further customize this. That's the goal. So I'm going to put it like this. And this means now I have the background image and we have other properties. So I better copy all of them. So we have the main title, the subtitle, URL button. Okay, so I'm going to start with top to bottom because it's more logical. So main title, subtitle, and so on. So let's call main title. Okay, and then subtitle. Okay. What else do we need? We need the URL for the button. So URL. Okay, and of course this needs to be a perfect match to the props here, otherwise it won't work. Okay. Keeping the order, so then button text. Okay. What else next? Background image, we have it already. Background image and background image. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this is good. This is looking good, I believe. So 3, 6. Okay, I'm not forgetting anything. So the main title, I'm actually going to keep the same titles, just changing the image. So this one I need to type because I cannot copy paste from my website, as I explained to you before. So subtitle, bespoke, see if I can type it, bespoke chauffeur services 24/7. The URL is this one, is the fleet. So I want to send the user to where? To fleet. So just fleet will do. And that route is created already actually somewhere. As you can see, there's the route, there's the page. Okay, so we have created those routes, so this will work. The button text is Mercedes-Benz fleet. Okay. The background image, there we go. Now we need to use the background image, and I'm going to be using the one that I showed you, which is just chauffeur.jpg, looks like. So chauffeur.jpg, .jpeg, sorry. And then you can provide and should always provide alt description. So I'm going to say fleet. Of course you need to, fleet. Our fleet, whatever. You need to provide a better alt for the background image. But yeah, I think you understood my point. And now I have it here. See? Coming along. I have the image. Cool. As I said, we will be using always the same image. And as we can see, this image also has the same problem. So the height is not a match, which means for us to fix the problem in all the components, right, we need to reduce the height on this breakpoint, which is the MD. So if we go here and go to the MD breakpoint, that should be the MD, the height, let's just say 450, I don't know, 450. See, it's fixed. I'm fixing on our project, I'm not fixing on the other one, but yeah, I'm showing you both situations. Now, if you use the same image or the image with the same width and height, you don't have that problem anymore. So, quick fix. Cool. So let's continue then. And now we need to work on the other part, on this div, that the light gray div with the text at the bottom. See, because the width and the alignment is not the same, depends on the screen. That's why we are giving like percentages to be more fluid and more responsive and all of that. So let's keep it like that, and I already showed you that, so no problem. So now we need to make sure, and once I'm here, I'm actually gonna do that fix here on the live version as well. Well, not on the live version, but on the final project. So I know it fixed it, but not totally, because the height is not the same. So I'm gonna say I need to use a different height. This should now fix my problem. It's refreshing. My computer is so damn slow, it takes a long time, trust me. Normally, on a computer that is not dying like mine, you don't have that problem. See? Boom, fixed. And this is the final version. So it is fixed in all the places. Cool, amazing. So that's what we wanted. So of course, see, I use it 450 in one place and 430 on the other one, depending on the image. So there you go, you need to rearrange this depending on your needs. There's no specific, unique number, magic number to solve your problem. You need to play around with the code. Okay, cool, let's continue then. So let's continue. I'm gonna just enlarge this. You know what we are doing. So what do we need to do now? Now we need to build the other one. So I'm thinking, to be honest, I need to look at what I just did to make sure that I do not mess up this thing. Okay. Okay, so I have this one. I can now close this. Sometimes it's just easier for you to close stuff to see where you are, because if you put the div in the wrong place, trust me, it's a headache and it's way harder to you to figure out where you mess it up. So sometimes it's just better to minimize the code because it's more readable. So this is what we want, and I'm gonna start styling this class name, and I want to give this a rounded corner, rounded. I don't know if you can tell or not, but this has like a very soft round corners. That's why I'm doing this. So rounded with full, the usual, but on MD I want my width to be only 60% of the screen size. There you go, fluid numbers. On LG I want my max width to be 65%, and on Excel I want this to have a max width, and I'm making a mistake already. I want a max width of 900 pixels. And I want a height of 240, another mistake, 240 pixels. Yeah, you make mistakes. Don't let people tell you that this is just easy and you will write the code perfectly without typos and mistakes and you will always know what to do. That's just bullshit, in my opinion. At least for 90% of people, because 90% of us will do these mistakes often. They will actually happen and we just need to be aware of them and fix them, which is not that simple sometimes, but it's doable. Okay, so yeah, do not focus too much. This happens to most of us, so you're not alone. So height of 300 pixels, and then I want a padding to all sides of 4, and I want a BG slate. Can use 200 because it's way lighter, and I want to use absolute. And what else do I want? I have plenty more classes to go. So I'm gonna use view word wrap. Good. Absolute. So top, it's going to be 255 pixels. On MD, I want top. Auto, on MD also I want right 10. On LG, I want right of 8, so decreasing. On XL, I want right of 5, I believe. Okay. And also on XL, I want bottom of 10, bottom of 10, and a z-index of 20. Whew, this is just a container. It's not even the content inside it, so it's not that easy. But yeah, let's go. So we need another div for this one. In here, we're gonna need another div. So tab. I'm gonna need a div. Oh, my computer is so damn slow. Another div, and okay. And this div also needs to be using needs flexbox, because the content now I want to use it as a call, so vertically align it. So set it to flex call, because by default it's flex row. Justify center items center. Oops, not justify center items start, because I want to align them to the left, not to the center. On LG, I want to justify to the center, and on LG, I want items center, and the height to be full, and padding X to horizontal padding left and right of 5. Inside this div, I will then have a H2, an H2, cool. And this H2 will actually hold the main title. So we see now on the screen that we built the box. So we now want to have, like, my computer is, gosh, we want this main title. So I'm gonna grab the prop from here, and I'm gonna use curly brackets, of course, and main title, but I need to style this H2. So class name, it's going to be font bold, text to Excel. On MD, text 3XL, padding bottom of 3, uppercase. Okay, and now we should see something, and we don't. Main title H2. Okay, now we see it. Cool. Okay, we need to add more content. The image is different, the size, that's why it looks like it's jumping, because the image is different. But then on your example, because you will be using always the same image, it will look exactly the same. So look, luxury fleet, whatever. And then we need the subtitle here, so I'm forgetting that. So let's add that really quickly. Come on, P. And then we need not the main title, but the subtitle. And I made a typo there. Now it's correct. So we need the subtitle. And notice then when we use this, the color changes. See, it changed the color, which means we are using this for props. And we need to use the other two, of course. So I'm going to style it. So class name, come on, class name. Yeah, one day, if I can afford, I will get a new computer because this one is driving me nuts. Okay, font. This time I want it to be light font light, okay? Because I want the main title to stand out and not so much the subtitle, that's why. Text 1XL, on MD, text 2XL, and padding bottom of 5. Whew. We are almost done here, but we need to have the button, okay? And the button, actually, it's just our link from next, wrapping our call to action button that also takes props. And the prop that this component takes, as you can see, it's button text, because it's the text inside the button. It's the only thing that changes, and then we use the link to send the user to whatever route we want to. So let's do that right away. So link, okay, and as I said, the link is the link needs the href. Once again, it's going to be dynamic, of course, which means we need to grab this URL. In this case, URL is for the route, URL. Sorry about that. We need to pass the href, and if you don't do this, Visual Studio Code will tell you to do it, so don't worry too much. I sometimes forget, but Visual Code shows me the warning message and tells me to fix it, and I do that. So class name, it's going to be margin top of 5, cool. And in here, I'm going to grab my component that takes the button text prop. Then I can close my component right here, and I'm missing a capital C, capital, and the button text is sorry, of course it's the prop. So you inside the component where you're giving props, you never want to hard code anything. You basically just want to pass the props here at the top to the right places inside your UI, and then inside the page where you're calling the component, there is where you pass the props. And this is the final result for the finished version. This is us. Okay? Apart from the image, the height of the image, as you can see, it's the same UI. So this is the goal. So of course now we have plenty more to do. And I'm gonna stop the video. I'm gonna do all of this, and all I'm gonna do, as I showed you, and I can just quickly do another one, all I'm gonna do in this case is to copy this one, right? Duplicate this. Now it's going to be exactly the same because I'm not changing the prop values, but to illustrate the point, my computer is damn slow, forget about that. Boom, there you go, see? Right. As you guys can see, I stopped the video and I changed all the prop values every time I'm calling this component right here, okay? So different information, different links, everything is different apart from the background image as we discussed it earlier in this video, okay? So this is the idea. So we are calling the same component over and over, and we are passing different prop values to it. And that was actually the goal, as I explained to you before. So this component actually will be also used inside our Explore page, and we will be doing the exact same thing. So at the end of the day, we created one single component, right? And we are passing different prop values to it, and we can use it both on the home page, and we will be using it on the Explore page. So as you can see, our goal was accomplished. So I hope you guys understand now why it's important to reuse code and pass props in order to reuse your code and make your development faster. And also, as you can see, our home page is coming along. We need to build a footer, of course, it's just this bit. And we have 2 more components to go, and our home page will be done in no time. Sorry, I was about to forget, but this is important. As I also showed you earlier on this video, on the MD breakpoint, somewhere around this screen size, we fixed this image at the bottom. Remember? So we changed it, we played with the height and all of that. And that actually fixed the problem, but that was only on this breakpoint, which is MD, I believe. Which means if you go larger, as you can see, this is good, but I believe there's a point where it's gonna break again. Oh, there you go, see? It's breaking. And I believe on smaller ones, again. So this means there's 2 places where this needs to be fixed, and I already showed you how to do this, so I will not show you again how to fix this, but just to let you know this is your homework in case you want to fix it and make it even better. So now really it's time to say goodbye, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!